Now to our other big story tonight, and of course it was this evening's presidential debate, the first but not the last one of this cycle.
And we do have 24-hour News 8 political reporter Rick Albin with us tonight. But before your analysis, Rick, let's check out some of the highlights.
Ford is leaving. You see that, their small car division leaving. Thousands of jobs, leaving Michigan, leaving Ohio. They're all leaving, and we can't allow it to happen anymore.
The kind of plan that Donald has put forth would be trickle-down economics all over again. In fact, it would be the most extreme version, the biggest tax cuts for the top percent of the people in this country than we've ever had. I call it trumped up trickle-down.
Now, in all fairness to Secretary Clinton, yes, is that okay? Good. I want you to be very happy. It's very important to me.
Donald was one of the people who rooted for the housing crisis. He said back in 2006, gee, I hope it does collapse because then I can go in and buy some and make some money. Well, it did collapse.
That's called business, by the way.
So a man who can be provoked by a tweet should not have his fingers anywhere near the nuclear codes, as far as I think anyone with any sense about this should be concerned.
That line's getting a little bit old, I must say. Listen,
it's a good one, though.
I would like to,
well describes the problem.
It's not an accurate one at all. It's not an accurate one. So I just want to give a lot of things and just to respond. I agree with her on one thing. The single greatest problem the world has is nuclear armament, nuclear weapons.
All right, so there you have it, some of the highlights from tonight. So, Rick, you got to see it all. What do you make of what we saw tonight?
I think there were a lot of style points that were scored. Obviously, Secretary Clinton came in, had a lot of substance, has a lot of detail. She's been around this for a very long time. Donald Trump continued talking about the broader stroke issues and didn't have as much detail. I think that's exactly what we expected. I said in some of the keys going into this that we thought Donald Trump needed to act more presidential. I think for part of this debate, he probably did. I think nearer the end, it was more the regular Donald Trump that we've seen over however many dozen debates that we had during that Republican primary, all of those different settings, and it was a little bit more of that. There's a real contentious conversation about the so-called birther issue, and then later Secretary Clinton, very near the end, started talking about Donald Trump and some of the comments that he had made about women. Now, there are going to be people all over the networks and the cable networks telling you who won. They'll have graphs, they'll have reaction, they'll have the people with the push-pulls that are watching, and they're going to tell you exactly what happened. I'm not going to do that because I don't know, and neither do they. The fact of the matter is you could take a typical overlay from another election and say, well, these things happened, so that means this is going to happen with suburban housewives in Philadelphia. This is 2016. I've stood at this or the desk over at 120 College a dozen times thinking that Donald Trump had said or did something that disqualified him. He certainly didn't seem to have done anything like that tonight, and his base has been there, and this last 3 weeks has been pretty good for him. He's been anywhere from 0.9 of a point behind nationally to about 2.3% behind now, and the fact is that those toss-up states are getting closer and closer. So, does this play for Secretary Clinton? Does it play for Donald Trump? I'll know in about 5 days when we start getting those polls out of the field, and we'll start to see if that changes the direction. And remember, there are at least scheduled more debates.
Well, and if you look at it through the lens of an independent or a voter that's undecided, did they see anything tonight to make a decision?
Right.
I don't think they saw anything new tonight. They saw Hillary Clinton and they saw Donald Trump, and that's who we've seen for quite a while. I didn't see anything that said, oh, it's a different person.
All right. Rick Albin, thank you for that.
And our debate coverage continues right now on woodtv.com. You can read the fact check about how both candidates at one point or another denied their own words.